Alan Rickman may have played villains, but the moment the cameras stopped rolling, he was a complete sweetheart. Except for the one Harry Potter scene that made him snap. Alan Rickman was the British actor who became famous for playing villains in iconic films like Die Hard and the Harry Potter series. But when he wasn't taunting action heroes as Hans Gruber or terrifying young wizards as Professor Snape, he was one of the most virtuous actors in Hollywood, almost to a fault. Long before Alan Rickman became cinema's most beloved villain, he began life in London's gritty Acton district in February of 1946, with his father juggling factory shifts and painting jobs, and his mother managing the home front. Young Alan's start was about as modest as they come. Alan wasn't shy about his heritage. Even though he was British by birth, he was proud of his Welsh and Irish ancestry. He joked that he and fellow Celts could smell each other out. His English blood may have been in short supply, but his Celtic charm and perhaps that famously sharp tongue clearly weren't. In the years to come, Rickman's signature voice, rich, slow, and extremely sinister, would help him create unforgettable villains.
I can teach you how to bewitch the mind and ensnare the senses.
But it wasn't entirely natural. According to Rickman himself, a voice coach once diagnosed him with something called a spastic soft palate. Another odd birth defect also contributed to his later success. Alan Rickman's villainous drawl wasn't shaped by his palate. It was also a product of biology. Born with a naturally tight jaw, he developed the effortlessly intimidating voice that sent shivers down audiences' spines.
The last time I was on this show, you said to me, was I aware that people impersonated me?
It was as though fate had cast him as the villain before he even took the stage. He even had a villain's origin story. When Alan was only 8 years old, tragedy struck hard. In an ominous instance of foreshadowing, his father suddenly succumbed to cancer. The unforeseen tragedy left Alan's mother alone to manage him and his 3 siblings. The following years would reveal if Alan would become a hero or a villain. After Alan lost his father, life took a dark turn. He relocated to a tough neighborhood where his mother struggled to raise the 4 kids alone. Working tirelessly at the post office, she remarried briefly, but it didn't last. These early struggles, however, shaped Rickman's quiet determination, one that revealed surprising talents. Long before he terrified audiences, Rickman dazzled teachers with his calligraphy and watercolors. Art seemed like a logical path, and he pursued a career in graphic design, thinking acting wasn't the sensible thing to do at 18. But even as he made a living as a graphic designer, he knew his calling was elsewhere. Despite his passion for drama and acting, Alan Rickman opened a design studio, Graffiti, along with some friends. For 3 years, he toiled away, dreaming of a life on stage. While most people would have stuck with such a solid career, Rickman wasn't most people. A radical decision soon changed his life entirely. Without a backup plan, Alan abruptly abandoned graphic design to chase his acting dream. He boldly requested an audition at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, where his first role was as a dresser for legends like Nigel Hawthorne. It was a humble start, but Alan had big dreams, and an even bigger heart. Even though Alan Rickman would become famous for playing villains, he was always a lover and not a fighter. From his late teens, Alan had been devoted to the love of his life, Rima Horton. However, despite their long relationship, he made a controversial decision. Though they spent decades together, he didn't get married until 2012. By then, he was a major star, but he still opted for a secret ceremony, keeping his marital status private until 2015. In other ways, however, he was very public. After graduating from the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, Alan Rickman immersed himself in British theatre, refining his dramatic chops in experimental productions. His big break arrived in a BBC production of The Barchester Chronicles, portraying the sly Reverend Obadiah Slope.
Were there any other matters you wished to discuss with me, my lord?
Yet, as good as he was on stage, Hollywood was itching to get him on camera. When Rickman played the villain in a 1987 stage production of Dangerous Liaisons, he had no idea who was sitting in the audience. Hollywood producer Joel Silver and director John McTiernan. Rickman's performance as pure evil was so convincing that the powerful Hollywood pair knew they had found just the actor they were looking for. Their offer would alter the course of his career forever. While Alan Rickman had been menacing audiences on British stages, Silver and McTiernan had been working on a script that would change his life forever. After seeing Rickman in Dangerous Liaisons, they offered him the role of Hans Gruber opposite A-lister Bruce Willis in their upcoming action movie Die Hard. It was Rickman's lottery ticket to fame. But there was just one problem. Despite the rare opportunity to break into Hollywood alongside an A-list actor, Rickman initially scoffed at the idea of playing Hans Gruber. He bluntly declared to his agent, "I'm not doing an action movie." Having arrived in Hollywood just 2 days earlier, he was horrified at making his American film debut as the English baddie in a popcorn movie. Thankfully, his agent managed to change his mind, but the role nearly cost him his life. In Die Hard's cinematic scene, Rickman's character, Hans Gruber, famously plummeted from a skyscraper. That iconic scene was a harrowing experience for Rickman, as he actually fell 40 feet onto an airbag. While the film's editor may have added CGI backgrounds later on, there was nothing fake about the terror in Rickman's face. In fact, capturing Rickman's iconic reaction required a sneaky trick from the stunt crew. In preparing for the scene, the stunt crew told Alan Rickman that they would drop him on the count of 3, cued to his character's lines. Instead, the stuntman released the rope 1 count early, ensuring Rickman's genuine look of shock as he plummeted to his fake doom. Later, Rickman humorously recalled they'd wisely scheduled the stunt on his last day. Alan Rickman learned that Hollywood was full of surprises. With an action film classic under his belt, Alan Rickman had his pick of Hollywood roles. But he had an unusual strategy for picking them. He signed on to Quigley Down Under, for example, because filming occurred in Australia, a place he'd always dreamed of visiting.
You are deserters from Her Majesty's Armed Forces. The penalty for your crime is death.
His Hollywood career challenged him in unexpected ways. For Truly, Madly, Deeply, one of Rickman's most memorable films, he pushed his acting talents to the limits. The role required him to learn to play the cello, so he took lessons to appear authentic. But in filming, a professional cellist hid behind Rickman, secretly controlling the left hand through Rickman's armpit. His little ruse fooled everyone, and landed him another rare opportunity. By the early 1990s, Alan Rickman had made himself into one of the most sought-after character actors in Hollywood. So when the producers of 1991's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, approached him to take on the villainous role of the Sheriff of Nottingham, the decision was all his, and he almost made the wrong one. Rickman rejected their offer twice, believing the script was awful, and only agreed to the role when the producers gave him total creative freedom. Alan Rickman was about to transform Nottingham into one of cinema's greatest villains.
Do you mind, Loxley? We've just been married.
Once he had creative freedom over the script for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Rickman got to work eating pizza. In a move befitting to a true mastermind villain, he invited his comedian friends to a Pizza Hut, where they sat down and rewrote the lines for his character while scarfing down pizza. Armed with creative freedom, Alan Rickman improvised lines on the set of 1991's Robin Hood. In fact, he improvised an equally terrifying and hilarious line that would become an unforgettable one for filmgoers.
I'm gonna cut your heart out with a spoon! Then it begins.
With lines like that, his castmates couldn't keep a straight face on set. Even when he was at his most menacing on camera, Alan Rickman was a softie when the filming stopped. While filming a particularly tense scene from Robin Hood, Rickman gently comforted a young actress by pulling silly faces and smiling warmly, aiming to reassure her. But the tactic worked a little too well. When the camera started rolling again, the girl couldn't stop from giggling, requiring several extra takes. However, he was considerably less considerate about his props. Even though he had originally scoffed at the idea of making an action movie, by the time Rickman arrived on set for Robin Hood, he had fully embraced them. In fact, he was so committed to his epic sword fight with Kevin Costner that he reportedly broke about 10 swords during filming. Apparently, the tension between the two may have actually been real. Even before Robin Hood hit theaters, it was clear to everyone on set, Alan Rickman was a better villain than Kevin Costner was a hero. Pretty soon, dark rumors began to swirl. People whispered that Kevin Costner, not wanting to be upstaged, ordered several of Rickman's scenes to be cut from the film. In fact, if it had been up to Costner, Rickman wouldn't have been in the film at all. Rickman's iconic Sheriff of Nottingham almost never happened. Costner initially wanted Richard E. Grant for the role, but Grant had to bow out due to scheduling conflicts. Fate intervened, giving Rickman another career-defining role. Even though the film itself divided critics, Rickman's performance became the highlight of Hollywood gossip. Much to Costner's chagrin, Entertainment Weekly described Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves as generally leaving viewers unimpressed, except that is for Rickman's brilliantly nasty sheriff. His gleefully wicked villain didn't just steal scenes, it dominated summer conversations. Rickman was thrilled to be the most beloved bad guy. As a British stage actor, Alan Rickman had been trained to be subtle, but his deliciously exaggerated sheriff earned him the BAFTA for Best Supporting Actor. Accepting the award with characteristic humor, he remarked,
This will be a healthy reminder to me that subtlety isn't everything.
Despite the acclaim, however, Rickman began to worry that he was too good at being bad. Even though Rickman thrilled audiences as Hollywood's go-to villain, he grew frustrated with the villainous roles that kept landing on his desk. He hated the idea of becoming predictable, and soon sought roles that challenged perceptions, though one unexpected casting surprise left him feeling genuinely deceived. In An Awfully Big Adventure, a film that required delicately intimate scenes, Rickman was deeply disturbed when he learned his co-star's secret. Georgina Cates, with whom he had shared deeply intimate moments, had lied about her age, claiming that she was only 16 rather than her true 19 to get the role. Rickman had meticulously ensured gentleness in their intimate scenes due to her perceived youth. His other co-stars were a lot less eager to get next to him. On the set of Sense and Sensibility, Kate Winslet admitted that she was petrified of Alan Rickman, fearing he was every bit the villain that he portrayed on screen. Fortunately, after a couple of weeks, Winslet discovered his kindness and warmth, later collaborating again with Rickman as both director and co-star. But Rickman's commitment to roles sometimes took him to uncomfortable extremes. While portraying the titular role of the 1996 movie Rasputin, Alan Rickman pushed himself to uncomfortable limits. Thanks to some malfunctioning props that caused multiple retakes, he ended up eating 18 small cakes and drinking 18 glasses of sugary grape juice. Feeling horribly nauseous afterwards, Rickman even required medication to recover. Nausea, however, was the least of his on-set concerns. By 1999, Alan Rickman had established himself as one of the easiest people to work with in Hollywood. But that didn't mean he liked all of his co-stars. During the filming of Galaxy Quest, Rickman vented his frustrations about working with Tim Allen. Writing in his diaries, he bemoaned Allen's perverse need to needle, antagonize, provoke, and demoralize, and noted that Tim Allen seized every opportunity to belittle others.
You will go out there.
I won't, and nothing you say will make me.
The show must go on.
Thankfully, his next high-profile role paired him with someone far kinder. When it came time to cast Professor Snape for the Harry Potter films, author J.K. Rowling had only one person in mind, Alan Rickman, and the role came with some perks. In an effort to help Rickman understand his character, Rowling provided him with secret details about Snape's backstory, information that almost no one knew until the final novel. His portrayal was so precise, it even fooled his own director. On the set of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, director Mike Newell admired Rickman's strikingly dark eyes, until Rickman gave him the fright of his life. Casually, Rickman leaned forward and popped out one of his black contact lenses. This unexpected revelation stunned Newell, but Rickman always had a talent for keeping directors and audiences on their toes. For Alan Rickman, filming Harry Potter was full of magic and mischief. His young co-stars, Rupert Grint and Matthew Lewis, spilled a milkshake inside his BMW while filming on Goblet of Fire. Rickman, embracing Severus Snape's strictness, banned the two troublemakers from coming within 5 meters of his car. Still, filming the iconic series filled Rickman with nostalgia. While filming Dumbledore's dramatic fall from Hogwarts Tower in Half-Blood Prince, Rickman delightedly recalled his own iconic plunge in Die Hard, gleefully noting that this time he wasn't the one falling. Rickman appreciated the poetic symmetry, but the moment was hard to enjoy with his co-stars riding his coattails, literally. During a tense sequence following Dumbledore's fall, Rickman warned fellow actors sternly, and perhaps jokingly, "Do not step on my cloak." Director David Yates, however, had instructed the cast to stay close to Rickman without looking down, a risky proposition given the cloak's dramatic length. As the camera rolled, trouble quickly followed. Seconds into filming, Tom Felton, closest behind Rickman, accidentally stepped on Snape's long cloak. The The inadvertent step caused Rickman's neck to jerk backwards. An awkward silence filled the set, signaling clearly that Rickman had not been joking about his precious coattails. Tom Felton recalled the incident nervously, illustrating just how intimidating Rickman could be, intentionally or not. After the cloak incident, Felton feared he had angered Rickman's inner villain and couldn't stop apologizing. Yet Rickman, surprised again, graciously accepted the apology. He even turned the incident into a joke, easing Felton's embarrassment. As good as he was at playing a villain, Snape pushed Rickman to his limits. In an interview after filming Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, Alan Rickman shared a rare tidbit about his personal life. In a touching moment, he confessed that he was overwhelmed at having the opportunity to work with Dame Maggie Smith, who he grew up worshipping from the cheap seats at the National Theatre. That made what happened next kind of awkward. During Snape's dramatic duel with Professor McGonagall in Deathly Hallows Part 2, Alan Rickman confessed to feeling incredibly awkward. Pointing a wand at Maggie Smith was not exactly his idea of intimidating. Thank God for computer graphics, he joked. She can arch an eyebrow like nobody. Even after his Harry Potter fame, Alan Rickman remained the kind soul he had always been. Director Gavin Hood, who worked with Rickman on his final film, Eye in the Sky, recalled how the megastar connected with the crew. According to Hood, Rickman lingered for days after shooting Wrapped, attending the wrap party specifically to thank each crew member personally for their dedication. It was a heartfelt gesture fitting for a man known for quiet heroism, even when battling private troubles. Throughout 2005, Alan Rickman kept a terrible secret to himself, even after the Harry Potter films brought him unparalleled fame. Secretly, he was fighting an aggressive prostate cancer, ultimately undergoing surgery in early 2006. The ordeal coincided with casting decisions for Order of the Phoenix, leaving him deeply conflicted about returning. Yet, amidst uncertainty, one compelling thought urged him forward. Despite his illness, Alan Rickman kept his struggle to himself, but he debated walking away from the wizarding world of Harry Potter. In the end, he decided to continue with the Harry Potter films, declaring, "The argument that wins is the one that says, 'See it through, it's your story.'" And his story had more twists and turns ahead.
For exclusive perks like early access to new videos, priority replies to your comments, and to have your say on future content, consider becoming a Factinate member. On top of that, your support helps keep the channel going. Click the link in the description for more details.
In August 2015, Alan Rickman encountered an illness that he couldn't keep secret when he suffered a minor stroke. The terrifying experience led doctors to diagnose him with terminal pancreatic cancer. Keeping his condition hidden from nearly everyone except his closest confidants, Alan Rickman maintained his trademark dignity to the very end, but sadly, his private battle couldn't stay hidden forever. On January 14, 2016, Alan Rickman passed away in London at age 69.
Alan Rickman. He has died at the age of 69 from cancer. We've just had it confirmed.
His ashes were given to his beloved wife, Rima Horton, after a quiet cremation. His final films, Eye in the Sky and Alice Through the Looking Glass, lovingly dedicated their credits to his memory. An iconic actor gone before his talents received Hollywood's ultimate honor. Even if the characters that Alan Rickman portrayed on screen weren't always lovable, his portrayal of them was. Sadly, he never fully got the love back. Notably, Alan Rickman never received an Oscar nomination. The Guardian even named him one of the greatest actors unjustly overlooked by the Academy. However, he did have the only kind of recognition that truly mattered. After his tragic passing, Rickman's former co-stars came out by the dozens to heap praise of the fallen star. Kate Winslet tearfully remembered Rickman's warmth and generosity at the London Film Critics Circle Awards, exclaiming, "And that voice, oh that voice." Helen Mirren echoed Winslet, describing Rickman's voice beautifully as capable of suggesting honey or a hidden stiletto blade. Such tributes reflected the profound mark Rickman left behind. Shortly after his passing, devoted fans to Rickman's most iconic role as Professor Severus Snape created a touching memorial. Fans of the wizarding world created an impromptu ode to the legendary actor beneath the iconic Platform 9 3/4 sign at London's King's Cross Station. There, Rickman's legacy remains as a reminder that even a villain can have a heart of gold. If you enjoyed this Factinate video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more incredible stories. Want a say in who we cover next? Join our membership program through the link in the description for exclusive perks. Your support means everything to us. Thank you for watching.